I gotta say, it's great to talk to you. I don't know if you remember or not, but you and I spoke about 6 or it could be 7 years ago at what was the Ontario
Fight
Creates
Club.
Party? There you go.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
we had a great conversation, and I'm so glad to talk to you again today for two reasons.
Okay.
Number one, number one, because of a certain award nomination that you received that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
And then number two, as we speak on Tuesday, a performance that you're going to be doing that
Mm.
I am hosting and I get to introduce you.
Hey.
So it's like a double
It's a
whammy that we're
twofer,
having. Oh,
like so
yeah.
much. Yes.
Just a lot of great stuff. Before we get
Yeah.
into all of this fun, how have you been doing? Especially because we are talking about, as we speak, slowly getting out of this pandemic.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
at the same time, there's still a lot of things going on in the world.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
world has definitely changed in the last 3 years. How
Hmm.
have you been holding up throughout all of this?
It's been a lot of grounding, a lot of inner work, a lot of spirit work. Um, I 2020, my mother transitioned, so in 2016, my father had transitioned. So it's a whole new world for me to be without parents. Um, and then putting out music in this new kind of I don't know what, just getting my own legs in a different way, just learning a lot of things. Yeah, it's been a learning experience.
Never met your father, but I have to assume he was a wonderful person for the way
Hmm.
you have been with me and meeting you. Your mother, I did meet, and I met your mom. I think it was in 1986 when
Okay.
I was at a station called CKO. She came in, she was so regal. I spoke to her just for a moment because I was very nervous.
Hmm.
And literally, I wanted to bow. I
Yeah,
wanted to bow.
she's got that energy. She had that energy, you
Yeah,
know.
and such an amazing person, such a groundbreaker.
Yeah.
Um, and the fact that you are following in those footsteps too. But it's funny when I was gonna do this interview, and I was thinking to myself, there's one question I wanted to ask.
Mm.
It's one thing when you grow up with a legend.
Yep.
When did you realize at some point that your mother was a legend? Because I would assume, and when I talk to people, folks like yourself, you always
Yeah.
say that, well, I didn't know anything different because this is what I grew up with. But when did it
Yeah.
really strike you to know that your mother was such a legend?
I mean, I gotta echo the ones that say this is just how she was. Like, outside of her just being my mom,
Hmm.
um, when she walked out on stage, or just seeing her name, or seeing her on television, seeing the way people reacted to her, just complimenting her, and her demeanor, just the way I was like, and plus just watching her on stage, just being moved by her on stage, just the same way as other people in the audience being like, what, and just growing up and really feeling my mother's spirit in me, feeling the school of Salome Bay that I went to just by watching her, just by being on stage with her, um, just feeling her movements, her interpretation. I was like, wow, like, she's powerful.
You just said the right word, interpretation. You've taken your interpretation of that spirit and of that vibe and of the world, and you've turned it into something of you, but
Mm-hmm.
in such a, and I have to use my hands like this because I feel like it's like this in
Mm,
what you've
amazing.
brought out. Where did that power and strength come from in your lyrics, your music, your stage performance, your appearance, all of this?
That's my mom. That's my mom. That's my family. That's my dad. Like, my dad wasn't a musician, but he was a huge music lover, restaurateur. He was one of the owners of the Underground Railroad restaurant, which was a soul food restaurant
I,
here in Toronto for years and years and years. Yeah, so
mm,
that's my dad, and he was part of the Yorkville coffee house scene, back in the 60s. So he was always around. A lot of people, music was what brought my parents together. And rich, wide, diverse range of music, and Black music, which is blues and jazz and rock and folk, and all musics. So the essence of it, the rawness of it, the 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 soul of it, was all what I felt, and what I always wanted to feel on stage. So I'm always glad when people feel that, because that's what I'm going for.
I'm curious, what was it like for your dad? Because when you're talking about the '60s in Yorkville,
Mhm.
Bob Dylan playing on the street, Gordon Lightfoot playing on the street, Joni
Gordon
Mitchell.
Lightfoot Gordon Lightfoot spent a lot of time at my dad's club, the First Floor Club. I met him once, and I don't know how we got into conversation, and he said, "Oh yeah, I used to be at your dad's club all the time." And so people may not know my dad, Howard Matthews, but he was just as important to the Toronto music and culinary scene as many people, you know.
Absolutely. Your road has been artistic. It's
Mhm.
been a voice. How do you feel being that musical soldier in being able to walk that path?
I mean, again, I look at my parents. My parents have been an example for me. The people that I look up to: Betty Davis, Eartha Kitt, Josephine Baker, Big Mama Thornton, Ma Rainey, those pioneers, those soldiers, those warriors. Um, I don't know anything different. That's my standard. That's what I look to be.
Is it almost like when you're on stage and off stage, is it almost
Mm.
like, and I can use the word superhero, because superhero puts on the mask and the cape and does their thing in
Mm,
fighting crime and whatever,
mm,
and then they
mm.
go to the mild manner life. Is that your life?
I mean, a lot of people when they meet me, they're like, "You're nothing like you are on stage." And I'm like, "Do you expect me to expend that energy all the time? I have to conserve something for the stage." And that's also getting on stage, um, is the exchange, the beautiful, magical conversation with the audience. If there's 1,000, 10,000, 100, 30,000 people in the audience pelting me energy, I'm harnessing and transmuting that and sending it back. Of course, it's gonna seem different from when I get off stage. If I'm one on one, it's a different exchange.
When you talk about this energy, though, because of
Mm-hmm,
the pandemic, you
mm-hmm.
could not release that energy for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
What was that like, having it bottled up? Because yes, a lot of artists were, doing virtual, but we all know too, doing a virtual on camp, that looks at it all. It's two different things, completely two
it's
different things.
it's way different. I am such an in-person tactile. I want to feel some random person sweat on me, and me just like pelt it back at them. Like, that's what I want to feel. I want to see people crying and screaming and singing with me and just enthralled, or having just, I want to feel that. And it's very hard to, I mean, energy is energy. It transmits wherever we go, but it's very different to be in a room by yourself doing a show and imagining people giving you that energy. I mean, I'm good at imagining, but I much prefer being in a room with people.
So then, when we look at now the creative part in creating music,
Mm,
you lost two extremely important people in your life.
mhm,
You've technically lost an audience for a few years.
mhm,
How were you able to create music? Because now you're seeing a different world. No matter if you look at the news, look out your window, look at social media, you're seeing all these things,
mhm,
and you can't go into a studio to
mhm,
work.
mhm.
You literally have to, and I've spoken to so many people, I've said this many times. Now your closet is your sound booth, and you have to come up with ideas. What was that like to change and reform yourself and rethink and how you're going to create music? Because it, again, is a different world.
Yeah, I mean, it was a challenge, it was a struggle, but it was also beautiful because it really it empowered me. It gave me the power to, and the skills, to be able to do this on my own, or at least learn the language of what it means to produce or engineer, because I've always been, intrigued and curious about getting into production and engineering. I'm always watching people, like, what are you doing? What are you doing there? What are you doing there? How do you do this? And always have had production ideas, but then to be forced into that, it's like, um, you start fighting those demons of, you can't do this, you're not good enough, the imposter syndrome, all of that crap, and uh you're forced to, you're alone. So, oh, I've got to figure this out. It wasn't only that I was figuring out, it was figuring out, I had I had hired a graphic designer, and that one of them flopped, and then I hired another one and that one flopped, and I was like, so am I going to hire another one and they're going to flop? And my manager was like, no, you're going to do this yourself because you know how to do it. And I was like, I don't. So yet another skill, learning Photoshop, learning how to do all these things. So really, really DIYing it, and coming out with skills, and being able to, even if it's not fully polished, I've got the framework. I can say, oh, because everyone starts from not knowing. No one goes in knowing. So I had to, like, humble myself and really kind of come back to, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I'm a bit of a, I want it now, I want to get it done, and if I suck now, then I suck forever. And so it was a lot of facing self and demons, and so it was challenging, but it was beautiful.
Then, Said, I have the pleasure of now asking this question. What award from all of this has come up now? What award are you nominated with, and for what for?
I am nominated for Alternative Album of the Year for the Junos.
All that hard work
Yeah.
definitely paid off. What is this album called, and how does this album represent your life right now?
This album is called The Fool. It is based on my love and just my life journey through the eyes, or through the trajectory of the tarot. Um, how does it represent my life right now? I mean, it's been a journey. The Fool is about trusting. Fool is about stepping off the cliff into the void, into the unknown, trusting in the universe, being being called a fool for for trusting that inner voice, that voice that says, you should try this, and everyone outside of you going, are you crazy? That's but that's what we do as artists. That's what we do as people when we have so-called foolish or crazy ideas. So this is for me, the fool, and for every other fool out there that has had a crazy dream and has stepped into the void.
But isn't it true though that um, every successful person has failed? You know,
That's, I mean, the listen, one of the things that I always have said to people is, if we look at babies, we will learn so much and humble ourselves and just keep going, because you watch a baby learn how to walk, they fall so many times until they walk. They just keep walking. They just keep going. They keep going. They don't fall on their ass and go, shit, man, I suck. I'll never do this. No, they're looking around, they're looking at all the big people, and they're like, well, they're doing, how am I going to do this? Because I got to, and it's just innate. It's just a thing that they do. So they just do it. Versus us, we get all up in our head and our feels and everything. It's like, no, be a baby, fail so that you can do it. I don't know if you've seen this. I think her name is Sailor Kinsey. I think she's on
no,
Instagram.
no, I haven't.
Okay, you might have seen it.
Hmm.
It's a little girl. She's got this big Welch's bottle of like grape juice and this little like stemless wine glass. And her mother's like, pour. And the first one, she's pouring all, like, it's all over the table. And as a parent, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, my heart, but I laughed because I was like, wow, it's amazing to witness a mother, a parent, allow her child to fail. And you can go back and watch her journey. This little, she's got to be 2, maybe 3 years old, learning how to pour based on what she's seen her mother do. And she's just figuring it out. She's making a mess and she's clapping, she's like, yeah, I kind of sort of
So
did
cool.
it, and, spilling all over herself. But then she finally gets it. And it's like, that's, to be allowed to fail, to allow ourselves to fail is such a gift.
We have another gift coming up
Mm-hmm.
because something's happening with you on Tuesday that I mentioned a little bit earlier.
Yes.
What is happening Tuesday night in Toronto?
I'm gonna hit the stage for the first time in Toronto for, oh my goodness, it's been more than 2 years, actually. It has been more than 2 years, because I can't even, sometime in 2019 was maybe the last time I played Toronto. So we're gonna be at Mocambo on the Lemmon stage. Yeah. And you're gonna be there.
I'll get to introduce you. Yes.
I'm
I
so
did,
excited.
what kind of show is this going to be like? What's going to happen?
Um,
I don't want you to give us everything. Just give us little hints here and there.
it's gonna be a SATE show. Yeah, you're gonna sweat. You're gonna. I mean, it's gonna be high energy. It's gonna be emotional. It's gonna be a little theatrical, maybe. I don't know.
Can you promise
It's
to
gonna be
sweat
rock
on?
and roll.
Can you promise to sweat on me though?
If you want it, you
Yes.
will get it.
I feel like if you sweat on me, I'm going to be blessed. So please sweat on me.
The sweat will be in abundance.
I love it. Even though we've got this great performance going on, does this mean now this is the beginning of other performances? Do you plan on touring? And also, are you also working on new music?
Always. Okay. So I actually do have a show in Detroit in the same week on the weekend. Yeah, it's a show that's been like a tribute to Betty Davis, who just passed.
Yes.
She's another icon, one of my heroes, one of my just my totems, my own like ancestor now. Uh, so a bunch of women from the States, mostly Joy and a bunch of just badass Black rock and roll women are getting on stage and singing Betty Davis, and there's an all Black female orchestra band.
Oh.
It's just it's going to be
Oh.
fire.
Oh.
Fire. Like if anyone wants to take a trip down to Detroit, I highly recommend. Like that room is filled with so much love and so much passion and so much. It's just going to be next level. So that's happening on March 26th. And definitely there's more to come, and more to come, more music to come. Yeah, I'm there's so many avenues. There's film scoring, there's more production, delving into that. Yeah.
And you got to get ready for the Junos that's happening here in Toronto.
And yes, I gotta get ready for that.
Because even though we didn't kick off the party really last year, they already said last year's party is going to be this year's party.
Right.
So,
oh my gosh, it's gonna be crazy.
So you got red carpet, you've got, I know, the dinner, you've got, so many things that are happening.
Yeah.
Is your head wrapped around that yet?
I had a meeting with my wardrobe team, so we're planning, we're conjuring. Yes, yeah. So I'm getting ready.
I put my accreditation in, so I'm hoping I'm going to be on that red carpet, and I'll be at the dinner and everything else too. So I'm crossing my fingers. You and I are going to get a chance to talk there. Absolutely. Also. As we wrap this interview up, you are the perfect spirit to ask this question about, staying in the light. What can somebody do to do that? Because as we even speak right now, you turn on the TV and you see the news and you see all the horror that's going on right now. And there's been a lot of it going on racially, sexually, I can just keep going on and on and on. And, the one thing I do joke about is the fact that who the hell ever heard of a Karen? And now that's like a word we all know. What advice can you give folks out there who want to stay in that light, stay positive, and keep moving forward?
Be very mindful of what you consume, and that is what you watch, what you listen to, what you eat, what you consume. Just because it's there doesn't mean that you have to, and it doesn't make you a bad human being to protect your energy, to protect your joy. We need more joy in the world. If we are constantly consuming things that bring us fear and stress and heartache, not to dismiss it and disregard it and be like, oh, the world is great, but there is something we have to fill our cup with joy and surround ourselves with joy in order to radiate joy and continue to change that, because we're powerful beings. We are energetic beings. We are energy, and our energy influences the next person's energy.
Amen to that.
Careful what you consume.
Amen. Amen to that. SATE, thank you so much for this interview. I will see you on Tuesday at the Mocambo for the Lemmon stage. And then I'm going to see you on the red carpet at the Juno Awards, at the
Yeah,
dinner at the
yeah,
Juno
yeah,
Awards, at the
yeah,
Juno Awards,
yeah,
the after party. Just,
yeah, yeah,
I'm going to get a whole lot of you, and I'm going to get a
yeah.
whole lot of sweat, and I'm going to get a
Yeah,
whole lot of
yes, you
blessings
are.
because you.
Lots of blessings, lots of blessings. You will stay blessed.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you, Rudy. I'll see you on Tuesday.